You know, a really great conversation is kind of like making a perfect paella. When every single ingredient is just right, the flavors all balance, it's a beautiful thing. But what happens when you toss in just one wrong ingredient? The whole dish, the whole thing can be ruined. So today, we're going to dive into some common phrases that, even when we have the best intentions, can absolutely spoil a perfectly good connection.
Okay, picture this. A friend is telling you about a problem they're having. You're listening, you totally care, and you think you have the perfect solution. So you offer it up, feeling pretty good about yourself, being helpful. And then the whole mood just shifts. The connection fizzles, and you're just left there wondering, what did I say wrong? Has that ever happened to you? You were genuinely trying to help, but somehow you only made things worse.
All right, let's break down that exact moment. We're going to look at the common ingredients we tend to add to our conversations that, act like a recipe for total ruin. These are the phrases that can instantly, and I mean instantly, shut down a productive, connected conversation.
The source material calls them communication dead ends, and they are three phrases that sound pretty harmless on the surface. Why don't you? You should. And of course, the big one, you always. But behind these simple little words, there's a powerful neurological reaction going on that we really need to understand.
So let's start with the first one. Why don't you? I mean, on the surface, it seems like you're just brainstorming, right? Offering a gentle suggestion. But let's take a closer look at how the brain actually processes this seemingly innocent question. Turns out, it's not nearly as friendly as it sounds.
So, this gets to a really fascinating concept from neurolinguistics. The source calls this phrase a suggestion disguised as intellectual suppression. Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. It basically means that instead of hearing a helpful idea, the other person's brain receives it as a direct challenge to their intelligence.
And here's where you can really see that disconnect in action. You say, why don't you just find a new job? Thinking you're being helpful. But what their brain hears is something like, my solution is obviously smarter than yours. Haven't you thought of that? Are you dumb? And right away, their brain just stops listening to your idea and goes into full-on defense mode. The connection? It's gone.
Next up, we've got a phrase that's even more direct, one that just drops the disguise completely. You should. Yeah, there is nothing subtle about this one, and its effect on a conversation between equals is immediate and often pretty destructive.
The source describes this as a power play, a kind of top-down power suppression. See, when you say you should, you're not really having a conversation anymore. You're creating a hierarchy, with you at the top, giving a command. And that instantly strips the other person of their autonomy, their freedom to make their own choice.
So here's the crucial point. Our brains are incredibly smart. That so-called helpful phrase, why don't you, is often just you should, wearing a really flimsy disguise. And you can't trick the brain. It feels that underlying pressure, that implied command, and it triggers that exact same defensive shutdown response.
And then there's this one. Oh boy. The source gives this fantastic personal story about how hearing you always would trigger just pure rage. And why? Because it's a direct attack on their reality. It takes one little thing and blows it up into an absolute, unchanging truth. The conversation isn't about the issue anymore. It's now about defending your entire character against a totally false accusation.
Okay, so we've seen how to ruin the paella. We now have the ingredients for a total conversational disaster. But how do we fix it? Let's flip the script. Let's look at the recipe for a truly supportive, effective, and, connected conversation. The source lays out three simple, really powerful ingredients. First up, stay neutral. Stick to the facts of what's happening, not these wild exaggerations. Second, use invitational language. Ask questions that open up possibilities instead of shutting them down. And third, grant autonomy and support. Make it crystal clear that the final call is theirs and you're there for them no matter what they choose.
Let's actually see this in a real-world example. On one side, you have that hidden attack. Why don't you try marketing? See how it just closes the door? But now look at the alternative. Have you considered what it might look like if you tried marketing? That's an invitation. It opens the door to a creative, collaborative discussion where their brain stays open and engaged.
And this is the ultimate move in granting autonomy. The source really highlights the power of this exact phrase. Just imagine someone is agonizing over a huge life decision. Instead of pushing them one way or the other, you say, whatever you decide, I support you. That one sentence can lift this enormous weight, transforming you from a source of pressure into a source of real, genuine support.
So what's the actual goal here? It's not about winning an argument. It's not about proving you have the best advice. The real art of guidance is all about fostering that connection and empowering the other person to find their own best path forward.
And this right here, this is the key takeaway. The highest, most effective form of guidance isn't telling someone what to do. It's creating a space where they can explore their own thoughts and arrive at their own conclusions, feeling like it was their choice all along. Now that is true support.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question. Just think about the conversations you have every single day with your partner, your kids, your colleagues at work. Where can you swap out one of those dead-end phrases for a real invitation? What conversation will you choose to change today?